a scene that you couldn't just normally go out and photograph. And the foreground could be photographed through the empty part of the glass. So you're kind of doing a trick photograph in camera effect. And all this had to be worked out with the proper perspectives and lenses and angles and whatnot.
Supposing you had a hill that you're photographing, but you need a castle on it, and you don't have time to build the castle, you can paint it. You paint it on the glass. The camera doesn't know that it's only 8 feet away. It looks exactly as though it's on the hill.
He could shoot a scene that you couldn't just normally go out and photograph. And the foreground
I drive a Ford pickup because my daddy told me they're built tough. Right, Daddy?
Right, and I bought a Ford pickup because my daddy told me they were built tough. Right, Daddy?
Yep, and I drive a Ford pickup because my daddy told me they were built tough. Right, Daddy?
That's right, yeah. My daddy came to Texas in a covered wagon. I had to learn about Fords on my own. I'm a smart old bird, ain't I?
Of all Ford trucks registered over the last 12 years, 93 out of 100 are still on the job.
I was Christmas shopping about 40-odd years ago. I saw a man coming across the store with a huge load of presents in his hands and his head tucked over the top. And I looked at his face. I said, my God, that's Walt Disney, my hero. I've always wanted to meet him. I never have. So I ran up to him and I said, Mr. Disney, my name's Ray Bradbury. He said, I know your books. I said, oh, thank God. He said, why? I said, can we have lunch someday in the near future? And then he said, tomorrow? How about that? Tomorrow. When's the last time you heard that? Don't people always say next week, next month, next year? Well, the next day I went to the studio and had lunch with Walt Disney. Set out on a card table with soup and salad. His secretary warned me before we went in that he had a very busy schedule. At 1 o'clock, I should jump to my feet, shake his hand, and get out. I said, my God, of course. I'm so glad to be here just for an hour. I'll be a good boy. At 1 o'clock, I jumped to my feet, grabbed his hand, said, thank you, Walt, goodbye, and started for the door. He says, wait a minute. I've got a few things I want to show you. So he took me out on the lot. He showed me the new hippopotamus. They're working on a new Lincoln robot. He had to show me that. And the people mover. We came back to the office at 3 o'clock, 2 hours late. And the secretary looked daggers at me. And I said, no, him. I was Christmas shopping about...
I want to tell you about Shel Silverstein, author of The Giving Tree, Where the Sidewalk Ends, those weird little books with black and white drawings and twisted little poems that every kid remembers, even if they didn't really understand them at the time. But Shel wasn't just a children's author. He was a cartoonist, a playwright, a poet, a war correspondent, and maybe most surprising of all, he was one of the most prolific offbeat songwriters of the 20th century. He was always drawing and creating, and when the Korean War started, he was sent there to write and illustrate for the U.S. Army military magazine Stars and Stripes. And those wartime observations, laced with dry, absurdist humor, ended up becoming the basis for his writing style. After the war, he joined Playboy as their staff cartoonist, which is how he got access to all kinds of artists, thinkers, freaks, and weirdos. People just like him. But Shel was also a musician, and a damn good one. He played guitar, wrote songs, and started hanging out with folk and country artists. He wrote a song called A Boy Named Sue for Johnny Cash. Cash, which Cash debuted at San Quentin in 1969. It was a big hit for Cash immediately. Shell had tapped into something interesting about this culture. Dark humor, twisted logic, and emotional realism told through a simple story of a man. That was Shell's gift. It was right around this time that Shell started seeing a model that he met at the Playboy Mansion, Susan Taylor Hastings, and the two had a daughter, Shoshana, in 1970. The relationship between Susan and Shell didn't last, but he was devastated when she died suddenly 5 years later of a cerebral brain aneurysm, leaving their daughter to be raised by extended family with frequent visits from her father. Shell took another huge blow 6 years after that, when Shoshana also suffered a cerebral aneurysm, passing away at just 11 years old. This had a profound impact on his approach to writing. He really didn't sound like anybody else. He didn't write like anybody else. He wrote the cover of the Rolling Stone in 1972 for one of my favorite niche bands, Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show, and it was so on the nose that the magazine actually put them on the cover. He wrote Queen of the Silver Dollar for Emmylou Harris, 25 Minutes to Go for Cash Again, and The Taker for Waylon Jennings. That last one might be the meanest country song ever recorded. He was good friends with Chris Christopherson and people who were trying to turn country music into something stranger and more literary. There was no line for him between children's author and hard-living poet. The guy who wrote The Missing Piece was the same guy who wrote Freakin' at the Freakers Ball, and he was fine with that. But when you look at the songs, the poems, and the cartoons, and the plays, there is a through line. It's his irreverent voice, full of equal parts sadness and playfulness. And through that, he reached everybody. It's wild to think of how many people claimed Shell as their own. And maybe that's the point. Shell's work belonged to no one and everyone.
Well, what do you do to relax?
Smoke marijuana.
You were joking when you said that, of course.
Yeah, right.
This is one of the weirdest monuments in the world, but only if you know the story behind it. This huge bronze bowl thing in the financial district in New York is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the city. And if you didn't know any better, you would think, well, it's the financial district, the stock exchange is nearby, so they put like a bowl there to symbolize wealth or the strength of the market, whatever. But that is not true. This city did not ask for this. Nobody asked for it. This 7,000-pound bronze bowl just showed up one day. On the morning of December 15, 1989, it was suddenly just there. It had just been dropped on the sidewalk in front of the New York Stock Exchange, and they had to call to have it hauled away. An artist named Arturo Demodica had been working on the bowl since 1987 in secret. He spent more than $350,000 of his own money making this thing. He then scoped out the area and found that police patrolled it every 7 to 8 minutes. And so he and dozens of friends, along with a truck and a crane, organized basically a reverse heist. The city immediately came and hauled it away, but the people complained and said, no, bring it back. So they looked around and found a more appropriate spot a couple of blocks away. But there was no process at all. There were no committees that approved the design. One night, a guy and his friends just rolled up and dropped this 7,000-pound hunk of bronze in the sidewalk and said, here. This is one of the weirdest.
Oh! There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. Oh my God! Oh my God!
I love to dance, so I went every time. I never turned down a dance invitation. There were some very famous musicians that played in San Francisco. There was just no end to dances. You could go all the time, night after night. It was about 1924, 25, and when my friend, the lady friend that was with me, lit up a cigarette, everybody in the place looked at her. It just wasn't done to smoke out in public.
It wasn't considered the nice thing to do at all, you know. And then along came our generation, and we all wanted to smoke, particularly because it wasn't considered the nice thing to do, I guess.
Wow. Hello, happy Thursday. I cannot believe that I figured out why chat wasn't working. It was because for some reason my stream said we were made for kids, and we all know this show is not made for kids. We curse on it. We don't want children hearing bad words, and we drink beer and smoke cigarettes. So I understand why YouTube would disable the chat, but I'm glad we got it working. And happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Creative Chaos. This is a show dedicated to shining a spotlight on fascinating people creating fantastic things outside the mainstream. Because nothing's going to change if we're not pushing back on the mainstream in the independent sphere. And I love meeting all the people that are doing their job to tell the best stories they can. I've got a good one for you tonight. But first, I should let you know Bruce won't be here. Batman won't be here, so I'm not bringing him in. But I do always have to say that Creative Chaos wouldn't happen if Flip City Magazine didn't exist, because I would find no reason to live stream. But I'm so glad that I do, because I love Creative Chaos and hanging out with the awesome chat, which actually, before I do promo, why don't I say hello to everybody? I think it was Woody commenting on the Shel Silverstein part of our doom scroll. There was information in there that I didn't know about Shel Silverstein that I found very interesting. And of course, Vulcan Lives popping in as soon as chat went live. I was like, how am I going to keep anybody around here without chat live? So, hey, Vulcan, welcome in. And of course, Cosmic Grandpa saying we figured it out. And what's up, Apex Comics? I'll see you, what was that, this Saturday on one of your shows over there. I don't have it memorized in my head. And Abo Grizz saying, how are we now? Entertain us. I will do my very best. I do lean heavily on my co-hosts and the people that I bring in. And I hope you do find Creative Chaos at least a little bit entertaining. We got a lot of hate over on Twitter this week, on the Flip City Magazine Twitter. They were saying that we were poop, and I didn't like it. It made me feel a little bit sad. And then I remembered it was the internet and didn't care anymore. All right, back to why we do Creative Chaos. It is sponsored by Flip City Magazine, and I want you guys to do something if you haven't done it yet. We are very soon launching our Parodies Only Special Edition. It's how we're closing out the year. It's 5 years in the making. We're going to publish a bunch of our wonderful parodies in one big, thick Flip City. And we want you to sign up to be notified of the campaign launch. So the place that you go, I will be dropping that link. And Cause, if you can bring up the screen, I want to tell everybody about this. If you sign up to be notified of campaign launch, you are automatically entered to win a 1-year subscription to Flip City Magazine that will include the Parodies Only edition, and then 3 more sent throughout 2026. I finally found that link, you guys. So you're going to the Flip City Magazine website, signing up there. You'll automatically be entered to win a 1-year subscription. And you have to sign up before August 29th at 5 o'clock Eastern. And that will be the day we're also launching the campaign. So at 9 p.m., wherever we happen to be, we will be spinning a wheel for the random drawing. It's a super easy sign up. First name, last name, email, and a nickname for online contest anonymity. And then I made this cool little gift down here. Is it a GIF? I guess it's a JPEG. And it tells you more about the Parodies Special Edition, just a few of the titles that are going to be included in that. I don't have a final count of how many parodies there are going to be in there, but I think we're going for about an 80-page book, and you're going to laugh your butt off. If you're not a dirty, smelly commie, you're going to love it. All right, so that's our promo tonight. You guys go sign up to be notified, enter that contest. Oh yeah, and I made these cool little lower thirds today that Cause popped up for me. They're so pretty. So thank you very much. Go check it out. Sign up, sign up, sign up. And all right. I feel a little lost without Batman here. Oh, one other thing, because he's so good about this. Since I've got you here, if you haven't done it already, if you could like, share, and subscribe, or hit that red pill over on Pilled. All right, there we go. There's the algorithm thing for you. All right, I've got an awesome guest for you guys tonight, and I'm just looking for my description here. His name is David Howard, also known as Nim or Nemesis. He is a writer, video editor, and comic crusader partner and reviewer. His current project, Space Monkeys, is a comic telling the story of these cute little dudes that enter a body to battle fictitious diseases. He can tell me if I have it wrong, but that's what I gathered. Because I watched this trailer you're about to see that is unusually long, but it's great for me because I need to go grab a beer. So let's meet David on the other side of the trailer.
Surf the microverse with Space Monkeys, dude.
Oh, hello there. For all of you who don't know me, I'm Nim, sometimes known as David Howard, and I'm the writer and creator of such works as The Long Game, OPSEC, and Blood World. However, today I'm here to talk to you about my new project, Space Monkeys. Did you know that every year thousands of people suffer from fictional diseases? You've heard of them: hemorrhoidus rex, itis 2000, foot and mouth disease, and much, much more. Then, a few years ago, an amazing discovery was made. A microverse of wonder and adventure that lives inside all of us, just waiting to be tamed. And when disease or mutation strikes, conquered. That's right. And who will do the conquering? Space Monkeys. Space Monkeys have been genetically engineered to conquer your microverse and keep it functioning for a better tomorrow. Why, I'm not just their creator, I'm a client. Let's take a look inside of me right now and see what those little rascals are up to. Let me just pull this little screen down. There we go. And let's zoom in on that and let's take a look inside. We've decided to document the adventures of one population of space monkeys inside a client, a very special client that we've kept secret for now. These true tales are presented here for your enjoyment and education. Don't suffer anymore. Get your space monkeys today and let the battle for your body begin. Oh, guess those space monkeys are at it again, huh? Bye now. Gotta get back to work.
Space Monkeys!
Yes.
I muted because I was dying backstage.
No problem. Oh, just in time. My wife brings the coffee in, so.
Oh, coffee?
Yes, coffee. I need a little coffee. So.
Hello, David. Very nice to meet you. How off was my description?
No, you're pretty close. I mean, it's a sci-fi parody. There's more than two people, but there's two crews, you know, so you're gonna have that all going on. But yeah, I mean, it's just, this was a throwaway idea I had for another comic, and I put it as a commercial or an ad because of the old. Remember Sea Monkeys back in the day? Do you ever
Yes.
remember those? Yeah. So I was like, I want something to go with a different thing I was writing. I was like, so I came up with Space Monkeys, put that on there. I created a fake ad and everything, and people loved them. And I was like, am I actually going to be writing a comic about that? So then I came up with the whole idea, and yeah, so they're in a body and they're fighting a war against the Mutate League, and you find out what's going on. But yeah, it lets me do all sorts of like parody references, which I love, which is why I'm looking forward to the new Flip City issue, because I love parodies. And it lets me do that. It lets me tell jokes. It just be crazy. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that people will enjoy it. So
Well, okay. So Sea Monkeys was more of your inspiration because I thought Inner Space. Remember that
too.
movie?
Yep. Yep. Well, the original ad was Sea Monkeys. So what I did in this one comic is I wanted to make it like the comics that we read in the 80s and the 70s, where you had the ads inside, then the back always had like a full page ad, you know, and I remember Sea Monkeys all the time. But it was a science fiction comic, so that's why I came up with Space Monkeys for that. But then the idea for the whole story, when it was people wanted a comic, yeah, there was Inner Space in there. There was the Fantastic Journey. Do you remember that movie from the 60s where they had to go into a body?
I'm not sure if I ever watched that. Was that a Disney movie?
No,
And they
I don't
okay.
think so. But they did have like a Disney. I know what you're talking about. There was a ride at Disney was like that for a long time, where you went into a body. So
I think it yes, it that wasn't part of the People Mover though. It was something else. I can't remember what it was.
you went through it on the People Mover though. Do you remember? Like
Yes.
in
I
case
missed the People Mover.
I
They
did
should have
too.
never gotten rid of that.
Yep. And America Sings. Do you remember America? For all of you who don't
Mhm.
know, we live in the same general area. So
Oh, which by the way, for any regular viewer of Creative Chaos, we normally do Fanboy for Us. That is Bruce's segment. I'm skipping it tonight because me and David are both California natives from these and grew up in the same area. So we're going to talk more. We're going to get to know David like in the realm of being a Californian because in DMs you were telling me some fascinating stories.
yeah.
That I want to talk about more. Which actually, since we've kind of automatically segued into it, why don't we do that? We're going to get to know a little bit more about you because I when I saw your promo, I saw that the imprint that you publish under is Rain Cross something. I forget, but I
Ray
remember the
Cross
Rain Cross.
Press. Yeah.
Rain Cross Press. For anybody that knows Riverside, it is Rain Cross everywhere. You know, and so I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's from Riverside. And something very special that we're doing tonight is kind of launching your pre-launch page
Right.
on Kickstarter. And that's where I got it confirmed because it says you're in Riverside, California. I'm like, oh, I know that area. And so in DMs, we were talking a lot about it and California.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about being a Californian, and how you currently feel about it?
Well, I guess right off the bat, I mean, this is hard for, I guess, a lot of people that aren't from California that don't look at this place with like rose-colored lenses or glasses to understand. But it's like, I love my state. I do love it. I wish that it wasn't insane and completely jacked up, but I love my state. So it's like hard to see what's going on. But we talked a little bit about this before. My family has been in California forever. You know, like at least 300 or 400 years, maybe longer, you know, depending on which side of the family you're looking at. And so everybody grew up here. I've got like tons of family in San Diego. Like there's whole canyons named after parts of my family where most of the people living there are or were family. And man, everything that's gone on in this state since the 90s, probably, and just accelerating. Everybody's leaving. Like I'm one of the few people in my family who still lives in California. I mean, and it's just all jacked up. And now it used to be that it went like crazy. I can say this, right? Crazy liberal. So
Oh, yeah.
okay.
This is a free speech channel, so
Oh,
you can say whatever you want.
so I mean, it just went lunatic lynch. I mean, you know, if they went farther than Berkeley in the 60s, you know, in some cases, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And so then that happens. And then on top of everything else, then it seems like the state turned into a third world country overnight. So you got trash everywhere. You got people sleeping in the streets. You got people like, it's free speech zone. You got people jerking off, on bridges, in public. You got people. I mean, it's just everywhere. People taking craps, taking dumps, and the cops don't do anything because they're told not to. They only show up like, it's nuts. It just keeps going further downhill, and then you see these. Man, you're going to get me going on a rant. You see these people on TV or whatever talking about how we're the fifth biggest economy in the world or whatever, and everything's great. California's like, well, the hell you say? Gas is. Went and filled up my tank the other day, and I was happy because gas is $4 a gallon. It's like,
Yes.
yeah.
We need to keep ourselves out of that mindset of like, oh wow, because we say that as a joke. Like, oh look, it's $4.20.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's like at one point eggs were like, who knows how expensive they were, and what's so ridiculous is that we have chickens and they lay eggs, and I had to worry about people trying to break into my backyard to get the eggs because they became valuable. So it's like,
well, see, that's I liked the meme, especially when the egg prices really skyrocketed of basically chicken owners on a throne with a crown. Like,
no
okay,
kidding.
these are chicken owners now. But I do want to bring this up. So Cosmic Grandpa said, I never been anywhere I wanted to live more than Southern California after visiting in the early 80s. And then goes on to say, never felt luckier than I do today that my plans fell through. Yeah, kind of agree. That's the thing. Now, are you staying in Southern California or in California in general because you have your roots here and you want to fight it out? Or is it more of like, moving sucks, it'll be too expensive to do?
It's neither one of these, and I've told the story privately to friends, and they can't believe it when I tell them this. So we can't leave this state until my wife retires, because my wife is a public school teacher. And by the way, you really want to hear some stories, get me started on that, and everything they do. But so yeah, she teaches school, and if she leaves, she will, like, her retirement and everything will get messed up. But even when we eventually leave California, if that's what we end up doing, we have to move to a state that has no income tax, because California passed a law a few years ago. The legislature did, went right under the radar because the news doesn't report on it, that people who get a public employee pension, if you leave the state, you still have to pay California state income tax, because they didn't want because so many people were moving to California. So you will get double taxed if you move to a state that has income tax, because California wants its piece, and they'll penalize you for like leaving and all this other stuff. So it's basically extortion to keep people in the state.
I didn't know because the media doesn't cover it. And I do, I say it all the time. I invoke my feminine privilege and let my husband know everything that's going on, and he'll tell me the things that I need to know,
Hey,
I'm fine with that.
That's I will say my wife does the same thing, because she really doesn't want to like deal with watching the news. So she's like, I don't want to deal with it. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then Apex says California needs a serious enema of conservatism, law and order, freedom, and individual rights. I'd agree with that. That's the thing.
You're not kidding.
Patriots have fled. And I kind of call them cowards. I understand, but we need to keep California right. Well, let me ask you this.
Yep.
As far as like Gavin Newsom staying in office, and the terrible policies of California, everybody on the internet says, well, California keeps voting for that. Do you believe California actually keeps voting for it, or is there just so much corruption and fraud?
You're going to get me in trouble early, I see.
Yeah.
Well, there's two different answers to that. My official answer is, yeah, we keep voting for it. But on the other hand, and I could say this because I've witnessed it firsthand, I know for a fact that there's all sorts of illegal voting going on by people who are felons or people who are illegal aliens in the state voting for stuff. And then all the corruption and everything else. So it's like, it's hard to know. I don't think that it's like our current legislature is, which is what, 68% or 70%, Democrat. So I don't think that California is that split. So
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So your wife works in the school system. I have basically all the women except for me and my sister in my family are all school teachers,
right.
And they hate how regulated they are and everything, but they're also super liberal. And I'm like, how do you like make those two things, conjoin in your brain? And my sister to the point of saying, I think socialism's probably good for the
Oh,
state, and California should secede, and watch America be so
wow.
sad because of the taxes. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I've got some people like that in my family as well, but it is weird. It is very much dominated by a certain political mindset, I will say. But the thing that is insane for me, because I have to see my wife when she comes home, and she'll like talk to me about all the problems and stuff, though, is that they wonder why schools are failing. It's like there's no discipline or standards in the school. Last year, so my wife's a kindergarten teacher. She had a child last year who every day my wife was coming home. It's the first time I've seen her want to like just mentally drain because this one child, and she would come home with bruises. Like he would beat her and he was stabbing other kids with pencils and stuff. Never got suspended, never got expelled, nothing. And then this year, they've been in school for 2 weeks. He got suspended for the first time for one day because he punched his first grade teacher in the face.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Where are the parents? Do you
I
know? Just are they cracked out or just
no. I think that they I don't know, from what I understand, they don't engage and they're not like hard on him and everything. But the other thing is, and I hate to say this, but sometimes it happens. My wife and I were talking the other day, he might just be an evil child. It's like he really enjoys hurting people, and you could like, it's a thing. So
Okay, so you are of the mindset that actual evil people are born.
they can be. They can be. In fact, I see that you do the conspiracy wheel, or it was a wheel conspiracy, or
It's the Creative Chaos Wheel of Conspiracy. I believe
yeah.
that's what I call it.
So that's one of my favorite segments. I love watching that and listening to that stuff. But it's funny you say about evil people. It's like, I don't know if there's something on that wheel for it, but I've got a story about the Tyler Mall and being around a person like that once, like late at night. It was pretty creepy. So
Interesting. Well, the wheel will have to decide.
Okay.
If you can fit that story in.
Fair enough.
Or maybe we'll stay in conspiracy corner. As Vulcan Lives knows, the rules on the wheel in the corner, they're very fluid. Because I just want people to have a good time. And I love personal stories. Anyway, okay, I think that's enough about talking about Riverside. Everybody across, the interzones, they're like, Riverside, what's that?
Yeah. All I will say real quick before we go is, everybody just think about us from like October through February for fire season every year, because it's no joke. So
fire season is a real thing, but I don't think it is. I think it's not really fire season. They call it fire season. It is all mismanagement.
Oh yeah, or a lot of it. So
yeah. All right. Well, so you came here to actually talk more about your project. One of my favorite things, and you may have kind of done it, but I'm going to make you do it again, is I want your best elevator pitches for pitch for Space Monkeys. I want to see how developed it is.
Sure. So let me reset here. So imagine that inside each of us is a microverse. The human body, once you get down to a cellular level, is a microverse. And inside this microverse, whether you know it or not, are these creatures that have colonized your body and all of our bodies called space monkeys. But these space monkeys may or may not be benign as they fight off creatures that bring in mutation, disease, etc. So our show or our comic it follows the adventures of Captain Mateo of the Cosmic Plantain and Princess Sabrina of the planet Galaga, and they are fighting against the Mutate League, and they're going after, believe it or not, the Rip-Off Star. So, and with that, but all of this is taking place in one cell. And the plans for this go farther. We're going to parody all sorts of classic science fiction. But once we get outside the cell, we're going to learn more about whose body we're in. And it may or may not be someone currently in the news now whose body we're in. We will see. So that's where we're going. And that's basically what Space Monkey's about. So you got the science fiction background, but it's all about parodying science fiction and telling some good jokes and having a good story and just having a good time, which is kind of what I like to do. So,
Okay, pretty good elevator pitch. Little long. I think I might have gotten off on not that I didn't like your pitch.
Okay.
So I'm just giving you feedback.
Thank you. I have a tendency to get going. It's like the video. I like when you say it was a little long, because then I was like, well, maybe I need to go back and re-edit it, because once I get talking, I have that diarrhea of the mouth that goes, you just start running at the mouth and talking for a long time. So,
well, I appreciate that you didn't get offended at my feedback, because I really do try to remain helpful on Creative Chaos and, behind the scenes with any other creatives that want my opinions or advice on things is, keep your pitch about 30 seconds and pack in the punches. Okay. Well, I have a question though on what you were saying. So you introduce your characters, they're in a cell, so on and so forth. Is this first book all in the cell, or do we get to find out in this first book whose body they're in, or is this plans for the future?
This is plans for the future. So this first book, their universe is all this one cell. So within one cell is an entire universe of possibility and civilizations and everything. And the driving force of this first book is that this group is coming in and trying to breach the cell wall with the Rip-Off Star. So the Rip-Off Star is right there. And by the way, the Rip-Off Star looks like the star weapon from Kroll, if any of you remember that old 80s weapon. So it's like attached to the edge of the cell, and they're going after it. So.
Okay, and is that why it's called the Rip-Off?
Oh yeah. Okay. And because there's the double meaning. Obviously, I'm ripping them off. I'm ripping off the Death Star, and it's attached to the side of the wall. So in order to beat it, you need to rip the star off the side of the cell wall. So
Okay, and the title of the book is called Space Monkeys, but your characters don't really look like monkeys.
No. But just like if you ever went and looked at the old, like I said, this was based on an ad, but you ever go look at the old Sea Monkeys ad? It says Sea Monkeys. You know how they don't really look like monkeys, so
because they're shrimp, right?
Yeah, well, they were actually just brine shrimp, right? It was a big scam. So,
did you ever buy sea monkeys?
No, wanted to for the longest time, and my parents would never do it, and they were probably very wise not to waste the money. So,
I feel that same way. Here's another Inland Empire reference that probably only you will get. Is I always wanted to go to Santa's village.
Oh yeah.
And my parents were like, nope. And I never went to Santa's village, but we begged and begged, and they never took us.
Did you remember they always had those ads on that looked like Santa was up there, and it was like year round, and go see it. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it was there. Which fun fact, if you didn't know, it has been reopened as Sky Park Santa's Village, and it's more of like a the rides are all self-propelled, and they're kind of fun, and it's beautiful, and it's not that expensive, and you can drink beer there. So Yeah, and it's in the mountains, so.
So Santa has beer for everybody. Yeah, especially the mountain. I don't know what it's like right now, but when it gets hot down in the valley, the mountains are the place to be. So
Well, let me ask you, how hot is it there today?
I don't know. I haven't got. I know it this morning at 8 o'clock. It was already 82. So
All right. Yeah. I think I'm chilling at a good 85 degrees in my office right now, which is crazy for the mountain.
yeah.
Anyway. Um all right. So, are you strictly a writer or are you also illustrating?
I'm a writer. On this new comic, though, I've decided to dip my toes into. I'm doing the color and the lettering. So, yeah, I can draw some, but not at a level where I would want to let people see it, let alone ask people to actually pay money for it. So it's like,
Yeah. Hail to Tank. What is up, brother?
hey,
Um Also, okay. So you're coloring. I personally find coloring very fun.
yeah. I mean, I used to paint miniatures. I got my lights down low, but I used to play this game called Warhammer, and I got a bunch of miniatures that I painted there. So, like, I like the painting and doing stuff like that. I even did like oil painting and stuff for a while, so I enjoyed doing that. So, and doing the color digitally has been fun to do. So, I haven't been able to paint for a long time because my hands don't work the way they should anymore. So,
Oh, for any particular reason, or are you just getting older?
uh, no, when I got out of the army, I got I got viral meningitis, and it gave me neurological damage. So yeah, so as time has gone on, it just keeps getting worse. And of course, that's another thing. But I've been dealing with the VA for the entire year, trying to going through disability, and they at one point even denied I existed as a person, so couldn't find my record. So I've been dealing with that back and forth for 9 months. So
Well, I hope you find, something that works for you and you can get your dexterity back,
yeah,
especially if you enjoy doing stuff like painting miniatures. I can only imagine the fine motor skills that takes.
yeah, it is. It's frustrating. Even like now, I'll just say I don't want to bring everybody down, but today, as we were getting ready to go on the show, I was reaching for my mouse, and my hand will just start shaking. It's like I'm pounding on the mouse, and I can't control my hand. So it's it sucks. So,
Yeah,
but
well, it's kind of amazing, what people will put up with and deal with in terms of like hand shit
mhm,
to like be able to remain creative or do as much as you can, you
yeah,
know.
it's it's I just don't let it stop me. But it's like now it's to the point where like you're writing, you're typing. It's like I got to take a break because otherwise I've got like 5 rows of LKS whatever all through the thing. But yeah, I want to get it figured out. One of the things that helps is CBD. So I take that and use that. That does help like calm the nerves down and everything. I take a couple other things. So I used to take because all of this comes with a healthy hosting of chronic pain. So I used to take the opioids. I was through pain medication and everything, and I got off that shit. That shit was
Did did
was
you
killing me.
did you get addicted?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
And not only, and I was taking them for years. First they had me on. I get to give you my list. They had me on morphine. Then they had me on methadone. Then they had me on fentanyl.
oh
Uh,
my God.
they had me on oxycontins. And that's when I got off of them. I was like, because it wasn't helping the pain anymore, it was kind of making it worse. And I knew myself the way I am, my personality. So I was like, I just got to do, I can't do this, halfway. I got to go all the way. So I quit Oxycontin cold turkey and just I just said, I'll go through the withdrawal. So,
So
and
how bad are the well, hold on. Before we do that, I just need to bring this up from Tank Ferret. So he had a similar experience. He says, "You too, David. I played that game with the VA for over 15 years." Um, and then Vulcan goes on to say that you need to get an advocate. That made all the difference for him. Vulcan, are you a veteran? I had no idea.
cool. Yeah, somebody else was telling me about advocates, so I need to do that. because like a couple weeks ago, I was on the phone doing the VA's job, contacting all these different offices for the National Archives, trying to track down. It was just like I got out of the government world a long time ago. I never wanted to go back, and now I remember why. So
Yeah, well, what a shame. I don't know. I don't know if you know this. Is the VA like worse in like Democrat run like California?
I've only ever done it in California, so I couldn't tell you. I really don't
Yeah.
know.
I would I'm just wondering if you had contact with other, veterans outside of the state.
Yeah, some people. I mean, I talk to different people. Some people seem to be okay with it, and most people aren't. So but I think that's got the same problems that all the government agencies do, which is bureaucracy and nothing gets done expeditiously, and they really don't seem to care sometimes. If you get what you need or don't get what you need because it's a job. So there's a lot of that going on. I mean, you do run across people that are good too, but I think the big thing is bureaucracy. It's just government sucks at doing stuff. So that's my
Yeah.
opinion, but there it is.
Well, that's the thing. Like I of course I have no experience, dealing with the VA or VA hospitals, but my assumption is, the doctors and nurses, probably even more nurses than doctors, because I don't trust doctors. I think they just want to get you on drugs. But nurses in particular, they really do want, as a
Yeah,
rule, want to do what's best for, the patient.
yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of people I think that want to do a good job. It's just the government and the bureaucracy is like, um, these other people that have been veterans probably can attest to this. But one of the things that first got me when I was in the Army is we'd come to the end of the year, and then we would go out and just like fire off rounds or stuff like that. So we spend our money because if you didn't spend it, you lost your budget. So it's like you're wasting all this money, and it was like taxpayer money. And then I became a defense contractor, and that stuff was even worse. When I saw that, I got out of that. So I was like, I just couldn't believe how much we were screwing the taxpayer over all the time. So,
And that's just one part of government agency.
yeah, it was
Mm.
absolutely insane. Yeah, like I don't want to get like turn this whole into a political discussion or just discuss about these, but all these stories I have, like I remember being on a plane in Kansas City one time as a defense contractor, and they sent me with millions of dollars of equipment, and American Airlines, I had taken the insurance out on it. American Airlines dropped it all right off the side of the plane, broke it all, and my boss didn't put a claim in because it's like, it's too much hassle. The government will eat it. So you, the taxpayer, on that particular day, ate $25 million. So
That's a drop in the bucket. Who cares?
yeah. Oh my gosh. So those types of things drive me crazy, though.
Yeah, I personally love how based like ex-military are. And it is, and if anybody in chat wants to like join in on this particular question or part of the conversation, is I have been pleasantly surprised at how many veterans I've met in the indie publishing space, indie comic publishing space, in this realm, like not the wokey woke ones, the cool based people, you know. Would you say that it's because there are a lot of creative people that, were in the military that need an outlet, or like, why do you think that is really? I, but it seems like almost everybody is a freaking veteran that I've met in this space.
That's a
Why?
good question. Off the top of my head, one of the things I would say is that one of the things you have to do to survive being in the military is have a sense of humor, to be able to laugh at anything or turn it into a story or a joke that you remember. And sometimes it can be really dark, but it's like a creative process. And then on top of that, every person I ever knew in the military is a world-class bullshitter. So,
Okay. They
so,
like to spin yarns.
yes. Tell me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I mean, we're all a bunch. You get us talking about stories over some beers or whatever. You could be there for a couple days, and people just start telling stories and they get bigger and bigger and everything. So everybody knows how to come up with these stories, and and it comes from all those times where you're sitting around, you have nothing to do. They tell you to hurry up and get someplace, and then you wait there for 8 hours while transpo's on the way. So you got to do something. So you're either sleeping, smoking a cigarette, or bullshitting with the other people. So,
All right.
so I mean, and sometimes you're doing two of those things at once. I don't know. Maybe you're smoking a cigarette and sleeping at once. So, it happens.
Probably. As a smoker myself, I can attest. So yeah, Tank says tankers may be dumb, but you need to have a GT score of 110 minimum. Basically saying that's a lot of nerds. I don't know what a GT score is, but that kind of makes sense. You need to have like a higher intelligence. A lot of nerds, meaning you're into a bunch of pop culture and comic books and things like that. So
Well, it's like we were reading. I mean, when you're not bringing the latest edition of War and Peace with you out in the field, But if you're like TDY or something, or maybe I never did it, but maybe you could smuggle a couple comic books into your rucksack out in the field. Yeah, why not? Something to read, something to do, things like that. And everybody was into all that stuff. Although my outlet, when I went away to school, when I was at West Point, my outlet was Surfer Magazine. I had my family send me Surfer Magazine to remind me of home all the time. So,
are you a surfer?
Used to be, not anymore.
Or were you a surfer?
Yeah. Although I was more into longboarding. I wasn't one of those ones that was doing all of the shortboarding and all the fancy tricks and everything. I just like kind of get out there and get on the boat and ride that wave right into the beach. So,
hey, either kind of surfing is cool to me. I've never tried it. I'm a Southern California born and raised, and I've never even tried surfing.
It's a lot of fun. I got into it in high school. We used to go to like Mexico to go surfing and stuff as well. So that was fun. Back in the day when it was like your kids could be kids and like you're a high school kid and you go with your buddies for the weekend and go to Baja and have steak dinner for 25 cents and go surfing, so.
All right, makes sense. All right, I did have a question because the first link that you had sent me was to an ASAP Imagination.
Right.
That is, I don't know if they're quite publishing or what's going on, but it kind of seems like a conglomerate of people that kind of got together to have one website to push out stuff you've done. And it looks like you were a novelist before doing any comic book stuff. Am I wrong in that?
No, I did comics for them first. Well, yes and no. Okay. There's my convoluted answer. I've been writing for a really long time. I got my first story published when I was 9. It was just a school district, but it was like I was writing horror stories at 9. That's how messed up I was. So I got that out there, and then I was writing all sorts of stuff through high school, and then I started writing novels. I've actually thrown away 12 novels in my lifetime because I didn't want people to see them. So I didn't think they were good enough. So I've written them, finished them, and then didn't get them edited, but then threw them away. And finally, my wife was like, "That's it. You wrote another. You have an idea for another one. This one is not getting thrown away." So that's how I ended up publishing the first novel, and then now I'm working on. There's 6 more in that series I want to do. Plus, I'm doing some short stories and things like that. So that's the prose writing. But my official writing that got released to the public was for the magazine or the comic called OPSEC, which is part of ASAP Imagination. So they have both. They have their own line, and then they have other people's stuff. And so I wrote a comic series, still writing it, called OPSEC for them. And the way I got into that is the guy who runs it asked me one day, he's like, if I could help him design the bad guys in the government institutions in that world, because he had talked to me and seen some of that stuff. So I did that. So I sent him all this stuff. I put like all this created all these institutions and everything, sent it to him, flow charts and all these things. He said, "Have you ever thought about writing a comic?" And I said, "No, but I'd love to try it. I love comics, period."
Yeah.
And I do this writing. So then I did my research, and then so I ended up writing OPSEC, which in the Army or government is operational security, and that's kind of the point of this. OPSEC is really kind of like the X-Files meets Supernatural. So that's the best way I can sum it up. So.
Okay, awesome. And this is a perfect segue into our very first mansplain topic. I have Tank Fair in chat mansplaining what GT measurement. I didn't ask, Tank, but it is a measurement of technical aptitude. So we are going to get into our first segment, which is mansplain. I'm going to have you mansplain something to me.
Okay.
Right on the other side. So here we go.
Oh, well, then perhaps you don't understand. See, mansplaining is when a man explains things to a woman like she's stupid.
Aw, that was a sweet one. Last week was a very savage one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, there was finger biting and blood and stuff like that. But this week was a cute one, and we got booped.
Cool.
All right. So, and I did want to segue quickly because we were on the topic. I'd love for you to mansplain to me the process of writing a script for an artist to turn into a comic book and all the ins and outs of that.
Oh, good Lord. My process or just the process?
I want to know your process, and then you can tell me how bad you are compared to the process.
Sure. So I worked with a couple different artists. Luckily, they've either gotten me or they're very nice because they all say they enjoy my scripts. Because the way I do it, the very first thing I put at the top of every script I've ever written for a comic book, and I mean, it hasn't been a ton, but it's in the double digits now, which is nice. Is that I say, this is how I saw it in my head. Feel free to take, like, I'm paraphrasing here, artistic liberties because we're working on this together. So basically, I hate it when I've seen people, like, I read all these different scripts and different writers have done it differently, but some of those writers, and you probably know who they are, they go in there and, like, dictate every single part of it. The artist is just supposed to read their mind and put it on there, not, like, do their own artistic stuff as well. So I do that. But the way I see things, everything in my head. So I always start off with the descriptor of the scene and then break down the panels the way I see it. I really like panels that feel alive, that you can have fights breaking through panels and stuff like that. And then I'll add the dialogue under each panel description. So I start off with a general description for the page for the most part. Then I do the panel descriptions, and I describe the action that's taking place, but I want the artist to decide the best way to try and work it and get the camera angle and pose and everything else like that. And then I'll come back with notes or whatever that's going on.
May I interrupt you real quick? As far as, like, while you're describing, do you do, because I have no idea what kind of artistic skill you have, but do you do any kind of, like, stick figure, like?
I do on it sometimes, or I add a lot of, if I'm, like, for instance, Space Monkey, since it has so much parody stuff in it, and a lot of it, I will say right now, for instance, Blunt Might and Sonic are in the movie, which are parodies of Blunt Man and Chronic from Jay and Silent Bob. So
okay.
Yeah, so they're in it. So it's like, I don't know if my artist knows who those are, so I put all those references in. I'll stick those in. I'll sometimes add hyperlinks or I'll add pictures. So I include all those references when there's something specific that I want to see. So on OPSEC, I wrote a page where an entire fight goes through the different panels, and I wanted to show Mateo the lineup. So it's like they start in panel 1, and then he gets tackled into panel 2, and then you fall and roll over somebody into panel 3, and then, so it's like that flow of how everything will go. So
okay, that's interesting. I love that Tank Fair here says, "God too nice. I think he was referencing, you giving people creative liberty. So,
Okay.
Tank in chat, I need a follow up on that because I know you're an artist. Do you like being told exactly what to draw? Because we give our artists all kinds of creative liberty.
Yeah.
I think, well, that's the thing. So, compared, so you do it your way. This is what you do,
Uh-huh.
right? And is there a very specific, like, hey, business wise, this is exactly how you need to do it?
Well, it seems like the standard, or at least I don't know if it's the standard, but the one that everyone falls back to as with everything lately is the Marvel way. So there's writing the Marvel way, there's drawing the Marvel way, and so the way
These
they,
books?
huh?
Are these books?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, but like everybody goes back to Marvel, for all these different things, and so the way Marvel did it is, um, from what I read and what I understand, a lot of times the writer wouldn't even describe what panels or anything. They had the dialogue, they had a general description of the page, but then it was very loose and free with the artist being able so much is just to determine how the action would flow and everything on the page. And to me, I don't know, as a writer, I would almost feel like kind of a fraud doing that. I know that that's a bad thing to say, but it's like I'm trying to come up with my vision for how that would flow. And sometimes, I'm not an artist, but I've got ideas how I want to see things on the page and everything too. So, it's like, why can't I share those? But yeah, it seems like a lot of people go back to the Marvel way. So.
Okay, and I just got to bring it up again because I asked. Tank was actually referencing that you weren't being condescending or arrogant enough with me in mansplaining.
I'm sorry. Well, you see, sweetie, when you write a comic,
Yes. It's so funny because I've been waiting for what happened in my first two mansplain segments.
Yeah.
And the first came from Luke Stone of Fund My Comic. And he's like, listen here, doll.
Yeah. It's like, you see, sweet cheeks, there's these things called comics. If you've learned how to read, can you read? So,
yes, that is what mansplain is for.
You live close, and you know what? See, I was worried you're going to come down the hill and come get me. So
that is true. Except for I made the segment for exactly that. So it just wouldn't be appropriate for me to get angry when people go that direction. Well, thank you for being very kind in your mansplain.
Oh.
And I did kind of want to get into our next segment as quickly as possible because I think you might want to stay in there longer than usual. And that is our conspiracy corner. Are you ready to go?
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this.
All right. And we're just going to bring up Tank's LFG. We're going to LFG right into conspiracy corner. So we'll see you on the other side for that.
All right.
I wanna live with a conspiracy girl. I could be prepping the rest of my life with a conspiracy girl.
Those weren't aliens.
I swear I am going to make myself a better tinfoil hat one of these days. Everything piles up. All right, so we're in Conspiracy Corner because you said it is your favorite segment of Creative Chaos. I'm sure you know how it works, but for the listening audience, I'm going to explain how it works. I'm going to ladies-plain to you.
Ooh.
I know, hot, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we've got this wheel. We're going to bring it up here in just one moment, and I'm going to explain how the wheel works. All right, here it is. We've got all these topics here. You get 3 spins, David. We may spin a couple of different times under these same rules. But basically it goes like this. You get spin 1. If you like the topic, you can stay with it and we'll talk about it for however long you want. If you don't like it, you can spin again for a second time. Same thing, right? But if you choose to pass on topic 2 and spin a third time, you're stuck with topic 3 no matter what it is. Here's what's fun about Conspiracy Corner, though. Even if you don't know what it is, you can just make up a story.
And since I was in the military, I know how to bullshit. So
Exactly. It's why I love having creatives on. And we may go through this a couple of times because I know you have a very specific story you want to say. And we may just change the rules at any moment because it doesn't really matter, does it?
not really.
All right. Are you ready to spin the wheel? You understand how it works, right?
Yep,
Are you
I'm
ready
ready.
to spin it?
Yep, let's do
All right,
this.
let's do it. If you know anything about Tartaria, this subject can go on forever.
I have no idea what Tartaria is. What is
Then
it?
we're spinning it again. All
Okay.
right. But just if you're curious,
Yeah.
you need to dive down the Tartaria rabbit hole, and I will suggest you go to, oh my god, I can't even think of the YouTuber right now. Anyway, basically, it's hidden history,
Oh,
and a reset, and you can tell like mud floods that happened, and you can
oh,
tell by our architecture and how we
I
can't make beautiful things anymore, and you
I
know,
didn't know that was what this was named, but I was trying to talk about that on another show just the other night. Like
like
I
old world stuff,
yeah,
old world.
yeah, like you go into like when you go into the ocean and they tell you it's a natural rock formation and it looks like a long wall or a harbor. Yeah, I love that subject. So
Yes.
yeah, I could do either one. So this is good too. So yeah, so this whole idea, one of the things I've been thinking about this since I was a kid. Look, you got me all excited. I'm all flustered
Mhm.
now. I got the, you know, no, the one that gets me when I think about all this is you always see these things where they find these old walls underneath the ocean and they'll say, oh, it's a natural rock formation. And it's like, you look at it like, come on, there's like doors and everything like that. But the one that always got me, I love reading Conan and Lord of the Rings. And this whole idea with Conan, like Robert Howard came up with this idea that all of those civilizations rose and then fell and society like reset and we forgot everything that they had learned and then it came back up. And then I look around now and it's like you had the Dark Ages where society almost did that. We still don't know how to build or a lot of the structural techniques that the Romans and Greeks had or the Egyptians. It's like all this stuff is lost. And
Well,
then,
you've heard of Roman concrete, right?
yep.
Where it's like way stronger than our concrete.
Hmm. Or even, what is it called? Greek fire. They still haven't figured out how to make Greek fire yet. They have an idea, but they don't know the exact chemical composition with all of the weapons we make and everything.
Uh-huh.
So that's nuts. And then you even go further back. And so, like, I was reading, like Lord of the Rings and all the fantasy stuff, and I've always been into that. And I was just thinking, it's like, people came up with all these ideas, and it's like, yes, people come up with myths and stuff to explain things around them, but there's always some kernel of truth. And I'm like, what if, all of these things sort of existed in the past? And then, lo and behold, like 15 years later, I remember reading the magazine one day, and they said they found a species of human being that they called the Hobbit because it's small. Like it was that same size and everything. I'm like, so yeah, it's like, who knows what was going on? And these are the stories that kind of kept going to us because there were a few survivors, and it changes just like a giant historical game of telephone. And people forget about cities that used to be there, and they disappear, and civilizations rise and fall. Yeah, I don't even think it's a conspiracy theory. I think that we just don't like to think about the fact that we don't know everything. The hubris is large with a lot of us.
Yes, it absolutely is. And well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you ever watch Ancient Aliens or anything like that.
I do.
I feel like that is a bunch of propaganda.
Yeah.
Although I find it very fascinating, and I think they do get some stuff right.
Yeah, especially when like it's everywhere and everything's responsible for it. But they're fun shows to watch sometimes. It's like you guys had Skinwalkers on before. I watched Skinwalker Ranch, you know. So yeah, that's right. And also the other question, you are right. I do play did play Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh.
So I still have all my stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you are a major gamer.
Yeah. I love board games and role-playing games. I do 2 game streams, or I'm part of 2 game streams on the Madness now. So.
Hey, well, since we're just on the topic, how did you become involved with Madness? Because I just met you.
Yeah. So I've kind of been around. I was started with Comic Crusaders, but I've been around and I've met Pops a couple times, and I did some stuff for him. And you know, Pops have been asking me for a long time to come and do a regular show on Madness, and just decided it was time. You know, so I'm do the NIM and the AM morning shows on Monday and Friday every week, and then I'm doing the gaming streams. So, and then I'm helping Pops with another one. So. I enjoy doing that, so it gives me a break. I like talking to people. I do stuff for Comic Crusaders as well. Like I've done interview shows before. I think I was telling Pops one of my favorite interviews I ever got to do was Elvira, Cassandra Peterson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I got to interview her. But you know, Scott Snyder. I interviewed Brad Dorff before, so different people. So. Dorf. I don't know how you pronounce that. So,
how do you feel your interview skills are? Because it is a skill. I've seen multiple other shows where people are supposed to be in interviews and the interviewer has no skills.
They've gotten a lot better. I always want to keep working at it, but I remember the first time I did an interview. It was actually with Scott Snyder, and I had like a whole list of questions written out, and I would read the questions exactly, and then I was just kind of like waiting to read the next question. So it's like eventually someone gave me some good advice, was just talk, you know, and I like to talk. So I just sat there and just started talking to people, and it's gotten better to the point where I've gotten some nice compliments. Like Cassandra Peterson said it was one of the best interviews she had done for what she was promoting, and I was able to ask her some just off the wall questions that she laughed at and appreciated. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, she was like and it was in her book. She talked about having lived in a treehouse, and of course, the first question that came to my mind was, "How the heck do you get up to pee at night living in a treehouse?" You know, so
that's actually a really great question.
Yeah, so we went through all that. So, but yeah,
right.
It's fun.
All right, very good. Let's do another spin with the same rules. Okay.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I need another beverage. This is what we're gonna do.
All right.
We're gonna bring the wheel up, and I'm gonna have my lovely, wonderful producer, Cosmic Grandpa, spin it for you.
All right.
You can choose to stay with the first one because I'm gonna be back within like 5 seconds.
Okay.
All right, let's spin it, Cos. I'll be right back.
Free energy. I don't know that I would be a fun person to talk to you about this. I can talk about it, but unfortunately, I spent too much time being like designing weapon systems and stuff to like believe in free energy. I've read the stuff that people talk about. I know some cool ideas and theories I have on it that I would like to be true, but I don't know that I believe in free energy. So.
That's interesting. It's funny though that that free energy came up because that also relates to Tartaria.
Really?
Yeah, it does. I will. Oh, it's called after. No, it's not called After School. I can't remember the thing. I'm gonna DM you. I'm gonna DM you some links to Tartaria stuff,
Cool.
and then you, if it interests you, you can dive down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
All right, so we're taking another spin.
All right, let's go for it. Full stop. All right. Hell of vision. I don't know what this is, but it sounds interesting.
Well, kind of basically like the reason I put this on was either uh like kind of like MK Ultra Mockingbird type of thing or like predictive programming.
Mhm.
I tried to make them as broad as possible. But
Oh, okay.
I heard you do this. And this is where we're getting fluid with it.
Okay.
You really wanted it to stop on Angels and Demons, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're gonna do the Christie rule of -1.
Okay.
Okay, this is a new rule, everybody. I'm giving you a -1. So you can take Angels and Demons if you want.
I would love to take Angels and Demons.
Let's
So,
do it!
I absolutely believe in Angels and Demons. Just let me put it out there. And I'm gonna, if I may, I'll broaden the topic a little bit because we were talking about this, I think, at the beginning, where I absolutely believe in. Sometimes people are just born evil, whatever you want to attribute that to. So yes, I absolutely believe in that. So much so that I have got like personal anecdotes and stories from different things around where, I've gone to places that are supposedly haunted, which were bullshit. And I've gone to places that are supposed to be normal that will give you the absolute creeps. But like with people who are born evil, my wife and I in the late 90s were at Tyler Mall, which for everybody that doesn't know, it's in Riverside off of Tyler Street. And this was before we had our kids yet. So we would just go and go shopping or just walking around just to get out of the house and do stuff. And it was fun. For whatever reason, we would get an urge to go do this. So this was like 10 o'clock at night, and we're walking through the mall, and we're on the elevator, and this guy just gets on the elevator with us. I kid you not, when I've never seen an individual like this in my life since or before. He had an aura about him that you could literally feel. Like you read that, and you're always like, oh, it's just creative license. You could literally feel something wrong. And he was just he didn't say anything. He was just on the elevator with us. We went down the elevator. We were going to the park in the garage, and the guy was just kind of following us. And we went in the parking garage. He's still following us. And then, of course, my hackles on the back of my neck are up because now I'm in protective mode. And then eventually, when we were getting close to our car, I was going to turn around and say something. Turn around, and literally the dude wasn't there. He was gone.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have thought about this for a long, long time. But once again, we go back now to Angels and Demons. I'm like, was this guy something creepy and spiritual, supernatural? There are times it depends on what side of the bed I wake up on, how I can talk about this or rationalize it. But there are times where like, was this dude a real life vampire or something like that? It was uncanny. And literally, once he was gone, the whole mood, like the hairs went down. My heart wasn't beating. I wasn't sweating. It was just an aura he put out there of pure evil. That's the only way I could describe it. Never been around anyone like that before that or since. But yeah, so tying this back into Angels and Demons, it's the same thing. It's like at West Point, I was doing research on something one time and went down into the basements, the stacks at West Point, 22 floors under the Hudson River, or that side of where we are on the bank of the Hudson. And they have a whole section for some reason in the West Point Library on demonology and the occult. And there were old books there. I was like, what the hell is this doing here?
At West Point, huh?
Yeah.
What the hell do you think? But what the hell do you think it was doing there?
I think that a lot of stuff, in fact, I know that a lot of stuff that the U.S. government wants to keep safe and or hidden gets sent to West Point, and it just kind of disappears as part of the bureaucracy, and it's just stored there. So, and who is going to go down? I was doing something I was doing a research paper, was looking for something and got lost. Who's going to go 22 floors underneath the West Point Library and goes poking around and run into it? You know,
How big is the West Point Library?
It's 3 stories above ground, and it's it's a fairly big building. It's not the each story or each floor is not huge, but it's not immensely small. But underground, there are, I think, 27 or 28 floors underground with like stuff to storage and all sorts of stuff. You always run into weird things though. It's like I remember there's steam tunnels that go through the whole area there, and we would go into these steam tunnels to do stuff or fool around and play pranks on people or whatever. And I remember we took a wrong turn. They were always telling us to stay out of the steam tunnels too. We took a wrong turn once. I came across a door that had a fingerprint ID on it, like a scanner to get into it. Don't know what it was. Don't know why I was there. I just walked away and kept going. So,
Do you think there's monsters in the steam tunnels and they just were trying to keep you safe?
I think they are trying to keep us safe. But B, no, I wouldn't say monsters, but I think that I think there is some stuff like places people work and things they do. Like one of the things that was going on while I was there was they were doing experiments, psychological experiments on some of the cadets. So, they do all sorts of fun and interesting things there. So,
Also, I just want to say hello to Crazy Cats. Hello. Thank you for stopping by and giving us the Vulcan, what is it? Salute?
yes.
Is that a
Well,
salute?
I guess it was the greeting. So,
All right, very good. So those were the stories you wanted to recount, is that you definitely had a demon or a vampire or somebody that was maybe
yeah,
into the occult, like evil shit,
yeah, it's
following
just,
you in the Tyler Mall.
and you look at a lot of these people. I mean, not all of it can be chalked up to this, but you look at a lot of people and the way that they are going through life or the things they do. It's like there's something going on. And it's kind of what I write about too, because I enjoy the subject and I enjoy researching these types of things. I have since I was a kid. Like for my next book, I did some research with an exorcist, a Catholic exorcist, so I was able to interview them and talk to them about that. So I enjoy having those discussions and things as well. So, and just learning about the subject, even though it scares the willies out of me. So there it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think with good reason they scare the bejesus out of you.
Yeah.
Even though I think you said willies. But Crazy Cat says you can find out how to summon a demon by going to your local Barnes and Noble. That information is readily out there. People just don't do it. Well, I disagree with your final thought. I think people actually do it, and that could be a reason why, things are so bad on this earthly realm.
Yeah.
And the occult section in Barnes and Noble, I think it's just getting bigger.
Yeah. And people are like drawn to it, never thinking about what the implications might be. I'm like, why screw with it? It's all of that stuff. So people are doing all of these things. And, even a lot of the instances of mental illness, how it's skyrocketed, you have to wonder sometimes what the effect is. Like, here's another great Riverside story for you. I was driving home from being at a friend's house, going through the Riverside Cemetery, and it was like one of those nights where it's all misty and everything. And I
Are you
stopped.
talking about the really spooky one
Yes.
that's in downtown Riverside?
Yep.
I know that. Yep.
That is the exact one. So I'm stopped at a stoplight, and I'm sitting there. I'm all alone. It's the middle of the night. For some reason, I stopped at a stoplight because I'm one of those people that obeys the law. For all of you that are running red lights all the time. And I'm waiting there, and I look in my rearview mirror, or in my side mirror. There's this dude walking right on the yellow line, just walking right down the road, and he's completely naked. I'm just watching this guy. He's swinging back and forth as he's walking up to me, stops at the door, knocks on my window, and I was like, no, I'm out of here. I took off. So I was gone. And then I come to find out, and this is how messed up California is. I told my buddy who's a cop in Riverside, I was like, this dude's just walking around. He's like, oh, yeah, that's the naked man. We know about him. He's out there all the time. And I'm like, we're not getting this guy some help? We're not arresting him? What is going on out
Right.
here? So, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, why isn't there concern for children
Yeah.
that can come across that?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just a naked dude. What?
Yeah.
We're in California, brah. Like, what's wrong with the human body?
Well, even me, I'm a grown ass man. I don't want to at 1 o'clock in the
I
morning
don't
look
want
over
to
and
see.
see some dude's junk right there. So.
Me either. Now, while your story is creepier than mine, I did one time on a foggy night in Riverside decide because I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get creeped out. I'm gonna drive through because it's an open cemetery. Everybody, like, it's literally right there on the roads, and there's small roads. I decide on the foggy night to drive through the cemetery, and I got freaked out by a skunk crossing the road because they do move very strange. So I'm
Yeah.
coming up on this thing, like going, in the middle of the road, and I'm like, oh, it's a skunk. And that's my story.
You know what the creepiest, ungodliest sound I ever heard was?
Mm.
I was at my parents' house, and it was towards the later part of the night, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 o'clock, and we hear this ungodly screeching. If you didn't know better, you would think it was like a banshee or something coming from outside, and it literally got your hair on end. So we went out there to see what it was. There was a raccoon and an owl in a clutched together in a fight, and that was the ruckus. I mean, it was so loud and so horrifying. I was like, I wish I could have recorded it. It would be great to use for a video or something sometime. So.
Well, I mean, you did say one of your first writings was horror. Do you particularly like writing horror, or are you just kind of an all genre type of guy?
I like writing all sorts of different genres, but the one that I like to go back to is writing horror. So I enjoy that. I just the kind of horror I like to write usually isn't monsters or like slashers and stuff like that. I like to write stuff that I'm scared of, which is the demons and devil, like the paranormal, that stuff, evil dolls or dolls in general, and evil children and clowns. Clowns scare the shit out of me, so I don't
Really?
like clowns.
Now,
Yeah,
has that always been a thing since childhood?
it has. It has. I don't know why. They just do. Like clowns creep me out. I know why dolls scare me. I know why evil kids scare me, but I don't know what it is about clowns. And the worst part is that I never talked about it when I was younger. And I remember like one Halloween, my mom had my brother and I dress up as clowns for Halloween. That was like pure torture. So.
Do you remember way back in the day? Because I'm assuming we're very close in age. Do you remember the stories of Cabbage Patch dolls coming to life?
Yes, and that was right around like the Amityville, like a little after the Amityville horror came out and all that. Believe it or not, we lived next door to this family, and the daughter was older than we were and used to babysit us. In the middle of the night, they knocked on our door one time and asked my dad to burn a doll because they said it had tried to kill their daughter several times. I mean, I laughed.
No.
Yeah. So, and they sat there and watched. My dad finally had enough and just took it and he burned it. It was like one of those really expensive dolls where the face is carved out of wax and everything, and all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Huh.
So my dad took it, and of course, if anybody knows anything about firemen are pyros anyway. All firemen like to burn shit. So, yeah, my dad, you could tell you don't have to do much to convince him to burn something. He likes to burn things. So.
All right. Yeah, my little sister, because we shared a room, bunk beds, she had a Cabbage Patch doll collection, and she had a nightmare one night and screamed out my name, Christy, and I was pissed, but I got down and I checked on her, and she's like, I had a nightmare that my Cabbage Patch dolls came to life, and I know I had my baby doll over here, and in the dream it turned its head and pointed at me, and when I woke up the baby was pointing at me, and the baby doll was like facing her and pointing, and I'm like, okay, you can sleep with me. So we climbed up in the top bed because that was going to keep us safe.
Well, my mom had these old dolls that she kept in the back bedroom that was a spare bedroom, and for whatever reason in our house, when you would go back there, hallway light was not at the closest to the living room, but it was back in the back, so you had to flip it on when you got there. So anyway, back in this back bedroom, it's all dark and creepy back there, and she had all these dolls up there, and they were really old, and some of them were broken, or maybe they were possessed. I don't know. But one of them had these eyes that would flip open and close on its own at different times, and it was broken, so when it would flip open or close, it would actually, you could hear it make a clicking noise. And I still remember to this day, turn out the lights in the back bedroom, so the back bedroom's dark where the dolls are. I turn out the lights in the hallway, and I start walking down the hallway, and I hear the click of the eyes open. And that was it. I freaking took off. I was running so fast. I was like, that's it. I'm done. And from that moment on, and that whole experience is like, dolls creep me out, man. They just creep me out.
Interesting. Hey, I'm just going to call this out real quick because our wonderful producer says check out Jonathan Colton's Creepy Doll. Jonathan Colton is a comedy musician. He's great, and Cosmic Grandpa loves him. I'm just going to say this live. If there's any way, because I know Jonathan lets people play his music on streams, if there's any way we can make it happen where we're playing that song as we're closing out tonight before the full closeout, that would be wonderful. Let's all listen to that right before the trailer. If you can make it happen, we'll see if it happens. All right. And Crazy Cat just comes in saying Rod Serling did it first in fiction in the Twilight Zone. Dude, Talking Tina, I think that's probably the most recognized popular.
Yeah. And there's also Who's the Dummy, which is about a guy losing his mind and he's a ventriloquist. There was a movie, I don't know if you remember this. There was a movie in the 70s that Anthony Hopkins was in called Magic, where he gets taken over his mind and he becomes a serial killer and he's a ventriloquist as well. Like, what is going on with ventriloquists that they're killing everybody and doing all this stuff? So.
What's worse, a ventriloquist or a mime?
Ooh. I got to go with evil ventriloquist still because I remember the other stuff. Plus, I'm a Batman fan, so I love Scarface in Batman, the ventriloquist in Scarface. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Well, on that note, I think we're going to leave Conspiracy Corner because we do got to close it out tonight, and you have to be branded,
yes,
David.
All right.
I'm so bummed because I did choose something for you. It's a rather easy read. Do you know or have ever watched Pawn Stars?
I have watched Pawn Stars. Yes.
Good. So you're familiar with, the pace of that show and what happens in the show. Okay, we've got a parody. Well, I'm actually glad I chose it because you said you love parody.
Yeah.
So we have a parody of Pawn Stars. It is called Pawn Tards, and we're gonna bring it up right now.
Okay.
There's only 2 parts. That's why. Well, there's 3 parts. I guess I'll play the narrator and the customer, and you'll play Rick. So just think of how Rick would talk. The main pawn guy.
Yeah. Mansplaining.
Right. Are you asking me to mansplain?
No, I'm saying Rick. He has the mansplain voice a lot of the time. So
yes, he actually does. So get that best mansplain voice on and get ready to play Rick as we enter into Pawn Tards.
Okay.
It's another day at Rick Harrison's popular Las Vegas pawn shop.
Yeah. So what you got here?
This is a genuine Ark of the Covenant, the most sacred relic of the Bible. Thought to hold the tablets containing the original 10 Commandments.
Interesting. Where did you find it?
Oh, I found it at an estate sale in Carson City, and I just had to have it.
Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's see. Well, right off the bat, these cherubim look like they're made of foam. This gold paint is flaking off, and these hinges weren't used until the 20th century. Yeah, I'm going to say this is not the genuine Ark of the Covenant. The real Ark of the Covenant, if you didn't know, is rumored to be hidden under the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, in Israel. Though others believe it's housed in the Church of Our Lady of Zion in Ethiopia. It depends on which history you believe. So, is this Rick again? Oh, what you got here is a replica made from a movie or TV production. If it were the same one used in Raiders of the Lost Ark, it would have some real value. But that one is hanging on George Lucas's wall at the Skywalker Ranch. To be honest, this one was likely made to be used in a low-budget cable show like Ancient Mysteries or Hunting Hitler. So, how much you want for it?
I was thinking $100 million.
Okay. It is kind of cool. How about I'll give you $50?
Sure, I was disappointed. I thought that offer was kind of low, and I'm still pretty sure that was the real Ark. All right.
I don't know how good I did on that, but
I loved that you ad-libbed a little bit. I think you did perfect.
Thanks.
And little did you know, David, that with a Flip City branding comes invitations back to our FAFO shows where we do live readings and all that kind of stuff. You get 3 chances. If you turn me down 3 times, you have to come back to Creative Chaos to get rebranded.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
It will be fun. All right, so that does it for us tonight. I am going to just double check in chat to see if anybody else joined us. I just wanted to give a shout out, if you're still out there, to the wonderful, my good pal, Doc Blaylock, saying hail to Vulcan and other people that have been here tonight. So what's up, Doc? So you guys, remember, Flip City Magazine is the place where it's at if you want to have a good time, especially with our upcoming Parodies edition that will be launching in 8 days on the 29th of August. And normally I don't promote first. I don't know why I did that, but I'm super excited about it. But David, while I look for the link for people to sign up to be notified of our campaign launch, what do you want everybody to do?
Yes, can you go? Today is the official launch of the pre-launch, so it's the pre-party, I guess. So we are launching that. We are going to be in pre-launch for a little bit, but we're going to be doing all sorts of giveaways ahead of the pre-launch. The first one I can actually announce tonight. If you sign up for the pre-launch, I'm going to be giving away the first 3 pages digitally to everybody that signs up for the pre-launch. So if you want to see the first 3 pages, digital pages of Space Monkeys, just sign up for the pre-launch and come on in. The link will be on the screen, and I think it's in the show notes. So yeah, go check it out. And I've got that in my bio, so you can go check those out as well.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, David. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Atomic Annie over on Pilled for raiding Creative Chaos tonight. That was super rad. Thank you guys so much for raiding us over there. I wasn't keeping an eye, so I didn't know exactly when it happened, but I appreciate the raid, and I'm going to set a raid right now over on Pilled.net, which, by the way, David, you do stream to Pilled. How did that come about?
Pops asked me. Well, like I said, Pops wanted me to do a show. I've wanted to do a show for a long time, but I wanted to do a show my way where I don't have to worry about all of YouTube's arcane rules, or if I want to play some music, I don't have to take a break every 15 seconds or whatever. And so, yeah, Pops was like, I know where you need to go. You need to go to Pilled. and you can do that. And sure enough, so I've been doing a morning show over there where like I'll play some music. When Ozzy unfortunately passed away, we did a tribute to Ozzy with actual music videos, and I talk about movies. So I like to play the movie trailer without worrying about getting copy strikes, and just talk about whatever I want. We did. Well, you said this is an adult show, so we had a great time. I found somebody did the green dildo rap, so we played the green dildo rap over there on dildo.
I haven't heard that.
Yes. Oh, it was hilarious. It's so funny. Yeah, so we did that, and I was cracking up because that whole story just cracks me up. Just the ludicrousness of it and everything. And so we had like one show where the jokes were just flying fast and furious about the green dildo, and of course, if it had been on YouTube, they get their panties in a bunch over there about everything. So, Pilled is the place to be for that kind of stuff, and I'm happy to be there. So it's cool.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. For some reason, I misread my chat, and it was just a call out for us to raid Atomic Annie, which we're doing over there on the Pilled
Cool.
.net. I personally love Pilled.net. It is the hottest chat you are going to find around because all kinds of people can drop a ton of different gifts as well as upload them for our viewing pleasure in the chat.
I think it's just so much fun, and they don't sit there and micromanage or censor everything, which I appreciate. So.
All right, and I gotta say, because I get to see the wonderful backstage, we are closing out the stream with Jonathan Colton's Creepy Dolls. We're gonna watch that as we close out tonight and then run our regular end trailer. You guys, if you're sitting around hanging out, remember to at least give us a thumbs up, help that algorithm. Pretty much, I think everybody in this chat is an independent creator. You know how hard it is to get eyes on your shit. And I think this is a fun show. I personally love meeting other independent creators. So, David, thank you again for being here on Creative Chaos.
You are most welcome, and thank you for having me as a guest.
And this is when we wave. We have to wave. Bye. See you guys next week.
Okay, class. List everything insensitive, exclusionary, bigoted, nationalistic, misogynistic, and offensive that you can find in history's great myths and legends. Extra points for suffering panic attacks or emotional outbursts. Fact check every opinion against the lived experience of your comrades and allies so you can avoid forming a criminal opinion. Scrutinize it cover to cover. Wrongthink, misgendering, dead naming, misinformation, microaggressions. Leave no page unturned.